The
Business
Oddcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Business Oddcast. My name is Stuart Morrison, your presenter, and sitting opposite me is the rather lovely and marvellous...
Magnificent. Even if I do say so myself, Hannah Logan.
Yay! So, Hannah Logan, what is, drum roll?
Oh, I can't do a drum roll. I'm rubbish at noises.
Topic of the week.
Drum.
Topic of the week.
The topic of the week.
The topic of the
It
week.
is the Anti-Boredom blueprint. So it's all about staying motivated with a spicy brain. So, I like
Interesting.
Yeah, I hope so.
Tell me more.
Otherwise, we're just going to slip people into a little coma. So I like to think of it like this. If you imagine motivation to be a person, then our spicy brains would be in a kind of on-off relationship with it. We're not fully committed. We adore it when it shows up. We panic when it disappears. There's a sense of needy going on there. We spiral when it stays away too long. But we absolutely cannot force it to appear by just shouting, just start, at ourselves. So
Yes.
our motivation has a mind of its own. It's its own person. And this is all about, the usual advice talks you through, like, build a routine and do the hard things first. And that's all really great advice, but we have a different brain. So meanwhile, we're over here, like, saying, I'll do the hard thing first, but then it suddenly becomes emotionally, something else becomes emotionally thrilling.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do the hard thing. No, I won't. I've been doing that for weeks on something, just a tiny little thing that will take me 20 minutes. And my brain's like, no, not today, Hannah. So,
There's a coat hook to be put up in our downstairs loo. I've only had it a year. It's 5 minutes work, Stuart. It's not even that.
Your brain just can't do it.
Slides off it.
But so boredom, you know this yourself. Boredom for us with our spicy brains, it's not just unpleasant for us, but it's actually a neurological shut-off switch, right?
Yeah.
So the moment something is not stimulating, the boredom kicks in, our brains just kind of go, nope. We just turn it off.
Well, you see, I think that comes back to the marketing one we did, that
Yeah,
do we
yeah.
have marketing immunity? We're watching something that we have chosen to watch,
Yeah.
and then suddenly you step in front of us and start talking about something that we're not interested in. Our brains literally just go, chunk, shut us
Eject.
down. What is this? I mean, yes. So yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Neurodiverse boredom isn't a mild thing. It's an emergency shutdown, as I've already said. So it's not a kind of, oh, this is a bit boring. It's a sort of eject button, turning off, not going to happen, leaving you staring at a kind of task like it's a foreign language to our brains. So I suppose it would be fair to say that boredom for our brains is a neurological danger signal.
Well, yes. I mean, one of those things that protects you, the fight or flight or freeze or fawn was one of the other ones that I heard attached
I've not
to
heard
it.
of that.
Yeah, fight, flight, freeze or fawn. But yes, you're right. Your brain sort of slides off the task.
Yeah, and it's not a lack of willpower. People that don't get it will say, like, well, just try harder. It doesn't work like that. It's a lack of activation. We need to be motivated, activated to get into that task. It isn't that we're just not trying hard enough. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand.
It takes real willpower sometimes to force yourself to do the adulting. A real, I've only got so much energy and I know I've only got so long to do this, and my brain is looking at something. Why I'm doing a deep dive on the history of bells. Why is that important right now, brain? Oh, can we get
Your
back
brain's
to
like, I love them.
Can we get back? The other day, here's a confession. So you kindly did some work for me, and you kindly submitted your invoice promptly and clearly.
Which was rare for me, I might add. Well done, Hannah, on that.
And it took me nearly a week to remember to pay it. And it wasn't that I had any resistance to pay it. I literally had it open in a tab, and then I shut the tab down. And then I forgot about it. And then I remembered, I was scrolling back through WhatsApp and I saw your message about it. I was like, oh, right, So I opened a tab again and then hid the whole browser for, 2 days? And then just was like, the invoice. I was looking for something completely different. Went to pay the invoice, then got distracted by something else. Another 2 days.
But the good thing is, my brain just doesn't remember any of that. I don't even remember that you're due to pay me anything. So when you paid me, you were like, I've paid you. And I was like, oh, wow. It was like it was a new thing to me.
I try and pay on presentation. That's one of my hard, fast rules with, especially with small businesses. Larger businesses, well, you can fight it out with the rest of them. But for small businesses, delaying a payment of just £100 might seem trivial, but it might be a big difference for that business. And I take other people's businesses very, very seriously. Especially when it's a small family business.
I appreciate that.
No problems. I quite agree with the boredom being a hard shutdown. It's like the steel shutters go up. You can scrabble at it, you can bang on them, but until the brain... in fact, the more that you bang on it, the more that you try and resolve it, the worse it becomes. It's almost like the PDA kicks in.
Yeah, completely.
And you've got no control over it. It's not... This is what is really difficult to try and explain to people, is you're on a wild pony and it's not taking any of the inputs. And you've got the reins in your hands and they're just flapping about and you're shouting and screaming and digging your heels in and the wild pony is just off. And you're holding on and you're hoping that when it comes to rest, you will at some point be able to get back in the direction that you were moving originally.
It's so true.
but my God, what it's actually doing is looking for dopamine. And the dopamine hit that it's looking for, it will keep doing that until it reaches that safety of it and it feels like, I'm back on familiar. Do you find this, that it is more likely to happen when it's something either new that is being asked of you that you necessarily haven't gone seeking? So it's not like a new thing that you are pushing for. It's something new that somebody else is asking you to do. I find those requests, my brain's just like, I'll get to you in a minute. Any minute now, I'll get to you. But right now, no. The more you ask, the worse it's going to be. I need to just soak my brain in this dopamine bath for a good, let the sponge soak it all up. Yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I can completely relate to that. And I think that buys into the idea of sometimes I can be really spontaneous and just jump onto something, but generally, even if somebody shows me or offers me a really exciting opportunity, if my brain is not lined up for that, then most of the time I can't just jump on it. I mean, we've got some exciting things going on at the moment and it's taken a while for my brain to line up. Now I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in. This is exciting, but it's really hard. So
here's something that I've learned, and it's taken a lifetime to learn this, but actually implementing it and remembering, having it as a reflex action is the thing that I find in business is useful. You just sat through and watched me process a little drama in my business, and all of the things that I was doing are from years of knowing what outcomes will come if you tell someone they're stupid. But I've got to get
listener.
No, but I've got to get it out because otherwise it will just rattle around in my brain, and then my brain will be distracted by this buzzing bee of an idea that this is unfair. Why am I the one that's suffering because of somebody else's
incompetence?
Yeah, you said it, not me. Having those processes that your brain can just zip down and not have to think hard about. Other people are playing checkers and I'm playing chess, and it's boring. I find other people's insights frustratingly dull at times. But I've often thought of that as a positive because I'm thinking in a dimension that the people are not generally thinking in, which is what makes me a good problem solver. But there's the flip side of that coin, of that exact same scenario. Other people are playing checkers and you are playing chess. The difference is you can never stop playing chess, and you're playing chess at 3 a.m. in the morning with yourself.
Yes.
Shut up, brain, shut up. And sometimes the neurological imperatives that your brain is working under, the structures, they're in charge. You can try and corral them to some degree, but if you hit a boredom patch that your brain just is refusing to engage with, like, okay, so here we go. I'm getting very close to the mic for this one. I've got some outstanding accounts to do, and those accounts, they're just minor, really, in the whole grand scheme of things. Every single time I get up from my desk and leave for the day, I'm like, oh, and the damn accounts. And then I sit there all night going, I didn't do the accounts, didn't do the accounts, didn't do the accounts, get into work, and, oh, this is more interesting than doing the accounts. I'll do that. I'll get to the accounts, end of the day. Oh, the damn accounts. It's like Groundhog Day, but being played out in slow motion.
Do they haunt you, or are you able to put that to bed? Like when you've done the whole kind of, oh God, I didn't do them. Are you then okay until the next day? Or I would be lying awake in bed like, oh, maybe I should do them now. You know, like even if there wasn't a sense of urgency, like there wasn't a set date to do them. Well, obviously there is, but I would still, like you said about rattling around in your brain.
Oh, yeah.
It would panic me.
90% of my insomnia is my undone to-do list.
Yeah.
And thinking through the task ahead of doing the task to make sure that I'm going to do the task as efficiently as I possibly can, which I won't do because I'll get distracted halfway through and my brain will go off on a tangent. I mean, you've listened to this podcast. If you've ever listened to this podcast before, you all know.
You'll know
how tangential some of
we're
our
quite
thinking
partial
is.
to a squirrel or two, aren't we?
So, if that is the case, if you know that, then how do you manage that? Especially as we spoke about last week about the energy fluctuations. So you've got fluctuating energy, fluctuating interest. A beam of attention that is not under your own control for vast majorities of your working day. How do you work with that? How do you, Hannah Logan? How do you work with that?
What's the answer, Hannah?
Yes,
come on, we're all listening.
We're all
waiting.
leaning in.
Do you know what? I feel like I need to put a caveat of don't try this at home. Quite often, if I get to the kind of point where I'm just not seeing an end to this groundhog cycle that you described, then I add a bit of kind of time pressure to myself.
Ooh.
I do find that, even if it's a self-imposed deadline, I do find that if I ramp up the stress a little bit, then it kind of forces me to move forward again. Probably not the most reliable way to... But it's almost like a kind of bump start back into... Does that make sense?
Yeah, no. So you've got this guy who's got a big whip, stands behind. I imagine he's a guy. Could be a lady.
It's a lady. She's wearing a lot of leather.
Oh,
yeah.
God. That would be very distracting. Nothing's happening now. There's a small pause for an ad break, ladies
Sexy
and gentlemen.
squirrel. It's not a squirrel.
Apart from a sexy squirrel. So having... like Sergeant Major Hannah Logan turn up and go, come on, this is the deadline. If it's not done there, how do you impose some kind of fine or other penalty?
Self-flagellation.
I'm genuinely interested. Do you know?
So here's a good example. So I run a couple of newsletters for a client. They don't go live until the 8th of January, but I'm very aware. I've learnt over the years, I'm very aware that the first week back of January is going to be a shit show, let's be honest. It's going to be me crying my way back into being an adult. So I know that actually I spoke to the client, she signed off the blog that's linked to it, she signed off the content, and it's there, ready. I can't schedule it yet because I've got to add some links that aren't live yet, but it is literally there.
Yeah.
So even if I'm crawling my way into the week commencing the 5th of Jan, then by the 8th, it'll be there. You know, I don't have to do it. There's no panic. But what, I've gone off on a tangent. No, I never do that. My point being, I gave the client a deadline. I'm going to get this to you by this date. I made that deadline up, but it forced me, because then my brain's like, oh, Hannah, you've only got 4 days. Oh, Hannah, you've only got 3 days. And sometimes, I've shared this before, but I wrote my dissertation in 3 weeks for my degree because I could not. I was in such a block that I was freaking out. And in the end, I set myself 2 weeks. And being quite bossy with myself worked, because then I just kind of, you know, I was running on adrenaline and fear probably, but it did work. And I wouldn't, you know, this is not a solution for every piece of work that you can't get into, because you would burn yourself out if you lived like that. But sometimes it does help a bit.
I find it really tough to break a task down and deliver it over a longer period of time. I'd rather commit all of my time and brain power to one particular problem, rather than, so take for instance a website development. I want to work on one project at a time. It's a big project. I don't want to be distracted with 1,000 cuts from 12,000 other potential you know, projects. I'd rather focus on one, deliver it in full, move to the next one. So, you know, so if I was building a street of houses, they'd go up one house at a time, which is hideously bad. That's not the way to do it. You just book the trades in all at separate times, you idiot. But that's why I don't build houses for a living.
Yeah. Thank goodness. It'll be a long process. And maybe that comes back to the dopamine, you know, with your analogy of house building. Maybe you build one, tick, you know, dopamine rush, you build one, tick. You know, it's not this kind of much bigger, drawn-out process. And I hear what you're saying about individual projects or individual bits of client work. You just want to immerse yourself. It's almost like, I mean, going on to the next point, really, it's almost like sort of a hyper-focus, or, you know, those cycles of focus where you're like, I just want to fully get in the pool of whatever I'm doing and get under the water and fully immerse fully immerse myself in it. But then the risk with hyperfocus, obviously, it convinces us that we're unstoppable. I feel like I wear Lycra every time I get into the hyperfocus zone. It convinces us that we're unstoppable, but actually, when it ends abruptly, it just leaves us like wandering around, blinking, like, oh, what happened? Where am I?
Oh, yeah.
And then crying over anything, like literally going from like a superhero. Sorry, I hate the phrase superhero for this stuff. There's a blog about this where I just rant for like 2,000 words.
It's a superpower.
It's magic. Don't worry, I know that lights make you cry, but it's a magical. You're so magical. Oh God, I've got on a rant. But it, you know, at the same time, I am well aware that there's a part of my brain that can get so immersed, and the stuff that I'm churning out is really, really, you know, the best stuff I've got. But, you know, the crash after that is brutal. But I wonder if hyperfocus is linked a bit to what you were saying, like you're doing a big project on a website stuff. Is there an element there of hyperfocus where actually
100%.
You're just going like, I don't want any squirrels involved. I just want to
100%.
get into it.
And on top of that, well, we spoke about this in a conversation we were having about overthinking.
Yeah.
I contested that it's not overthinking, that it's just other people underthinking.
Yes.
And it allows you, when you are hyper-focused, but they say that the neurodiverse are better at spotting details, or can be better at spotting details. I'm looking at a resolution of information and of detail that 90% of people are never going to even, it's just not going to cross their mind to even think about it. But I will feel happier knowing that I've thought about it. And if I have to break everything down into small individual chunks, I feel like I'm missing out if I have to keep dipping back into it, because I have to keep reminding myself of the base thinking. So it takes twice as long. Have I explained that?
Yeah, no.
It's not an individual amount. It's not like Lego bricks that you bolt together. It's like, imagine for every Lego brick that you have to do, there's 10 other Lego bricks. So to then stop and then come back to it, you've got to add on another 10 Lego bricks just to put one more progress brick in place.
Yeah.
And that just becomes a draining cycle of picking it up, going, where was I? What was I doing?
Yeah.
And that's going to lead to some boredom.
And complete exhaustion, right? I mean...
Yes, it's that task switching. Definitely the task switching leads to some dysregulation, especially when you're asked to do it. Like, with no context, do this now. What? How does this fit in? Like I said last week, how does this fit in with the overall plan? And I find that really difficult. You know, do this now, do this now, do this.
Yeah.
Well,
I just get really overwhelmed.
get the rage.
I get completely ragey. I mean, I bought a cheap Christmas tree on eBay. It was a good Christmas tree, but it, reusable one.
Timu.
There's no child labour involved. Literally a second-hand Christmas tree. I made a big deal about, the guy posting it on time. I wanted to get it up with the lights on. It is still asleep on my living room floor in its box. I am completely disconnected from it. I can't do it. And every day I say, for the benefit of my family, if you're listening, sorry, every day I say, I must get the tree up today. I have no intention of doing it. I don't. I can't do it. I am stuck in a cycle. I can't do it. And then there's the shame of I know that my family will be much happier when it's up. But no one else can be asked to do it either, right? So that's a problem in itself. So
are there any sort of systems of maybe like reward systems or ways to motivate you a bit? Anything you use?
So I try as much as I can to kind of use those hyper-focus windows. You never know when they're coming, do you? But no. I try and use them. When I feel one, like the air goes past I feel it fly past my brain. Then whatever I'm doing, and I told you this the other day, didn't I? It was about, I think I was lying in bed and I couldn't get to sleep, and it was about 1:30 in the morning, and suddenly an entire blog dropped into my brain. And I was like, oh, okay, lads, this is what's happening, is it? I went downstairs with my laptop and put out a couple of good blogs for a different client.
Nice.
And I knew, and it's not ideal, don't get me wrong, no one wants to be working at 1:30 in the morning, but I knew, I decided to go with it, and I realised that the following morning I could have a lie-in and, manage that energy, otherwise you just burnt out within minutes, really, or within seconds. But I kind of used that hyper-focus window intentionally, and it did make a massive difference. So maybe, and when you're in there and you're whizzing through the space 1,000 miles per hour in this hyper-focus situation, I try and clam. I don't try and clam. There's no clams involved. I try and cram as much as I can, not to burn out, but I just ride that wave and think, okay, while I'm on it, I'm going to do all sorts of stuff that I can do. Isn't it funny how we've got an entire language around the creativity brain, which is muse, inspiration. When it comes, you harness it. No, when it's what you're talking about is hyperfocus. Yes. And anybody who said it's the muse, no, it's hyperfocus. Yeah. And it is I mean, we've both said this, and my daughter was saying this the other day. For anybody that experiences it, it is incredible. When it drops in, when I'm aware that I'm in a hyper-focus, it does feel, although I joke about, I hate the words superpowers and all that shizzle, it does feel magical. It can also be quite self-destructive, and it can be difficult if you don't manage it. But actually, when you're in it, you do feel like you could achieve so much, It's really I feel like I'm plugged into the mains and everything is amped up. Yeah. But then maybe that's because the rest of the time we're not. Maybe it's such a difference to us because we're suddenly really focused and, that's not our default. The other thing that I always feel is like my internal brain, my internal mental whatever it is I'm focused on, I step into it. It becomes a part of me. It's like I put my head into the screen if it's a computer thing.
if I'm doing something physical and in the real world, it's like I'm watching it on a screen, and it's so weird. It's the reverse in the real world for what it is when I'm in a computer. But it is different, definitely a different brain state, to the point where Gemma can literally walk up and stand next to me and say, "What are you doing?" And I'll not hear her, even though she said that, and I'll turn and go, "Oh, yeah,
Yes.
what are you doing, creeping up?" She goes, "No, I have been saying
Been here for an
Stuart, all the way up to you, and you didn't hear me." It's like, no, I'm functionally deaf when I'm thinking.
You know, my whole life, people have said, "Why are you so jumpy?" You know, I'll be in the kitchen making some soup, or I don't know what I'm doing. And suddenly, exactly what you said, my husband will walk in, and he's not quiet because he's a 6'1" guy walking into a room. But suddenly I'm like, "Whoa, why did you do that?" You know, I nearly died.
Scalded myself
And they're
with
like,
the soup.
"What are you, Hannah? What are you doing?" Or you. When I was a little kid, I had loads of tests on my brain and stuff, like little suckers on me, you know, because they'd say she goes really starey and starts staring at a wall. And, well, okay. So the signs were there, right? But
If you're not staring at the wall, you've just shut down and you're inside your
my
head.
My eyes are there, but I'm just, I'm in this
You're in the
this
zone.
bodysuit, but not,
The meat suit, yeah. Pilot in the meat suit, but you've just
meat
put your
suit.
hands off the controls. Put it on autopilot, and it's just gone and stared at a wall.
Oh, my goodness.
Why do you think that neurodiverse brains seek chaos and newness? Because that's the dopamine hit, I'm guessing, is it?
I guess it's a drug for us. It's kind of... Or no, it's not. I guess it's not so much that it's a drug. I think we are just aware that it's what drives the momentum forwards for us, maybe.
Oh, I've got a new trait that is... I'm not going to diagnose anyone with it, but it's definitely on the list. And here it is, stationery.
Oh, I love stationery.
Anybody who goes and sniffs the stationery cupboard. Has that been you? I used to get locked in to the stationery cupboard by the teacher in the English class because I wouldn't sit still or stop talking.
Oh, that's good teaching.
No,
Lock him in a cupboard.
literally locked in. You know, fire safety, anyone?
No.
And it was a very long, thin. It was the width of the classroom, but it had windows high up. It was like behind the blackboard.
Like a kind of prism, really.
But he thought he was punishing me by putting me in, locking me in. I would just be sniffing all the new... It's back when schools were properly funded and they had rooms
They're
with
pencils and all sorts. Yeah.
and chalk and erasers, and I'd just go and sniff the books, the textbooks, flick the textbooks, like the smell of the ink.
Oh my goodness, you've just given me a memory. You know the beginning of a new term where they hand out the fresh, like the beginning of the new year, they hand out the fresh books, you know, like a blue one for English and a green. Oh, that's given me a little kind of like a little... I mean, school was brutal, right? But I love the new books.
But yeah, that's one of the traits, isn't it? Somebody who's got a lot of new notebooks. How many notebooks do you have on your shelf that are unwritten in? I've got literally dozens.
Yeah, I have. And diaries. I've got about 20 diaries, all that have like 2 pages written in.
New Year's resolution to keep a diary. Week 1, I'm keeping my diary. Week 2, I forgot to enter yesterday, but today, week 3... Where's my diary?
What happened same as yesterday. I mean, I admire Anne Frank, and she was a big inspiration to me. But I loved the idea. I loved the idea. I do love the idea of documenting stuff, and I love this kind of romantic idea that somebody generations to come will be like, oh, I found like great Granny Hannah's. Well, sorry guys, you're going to be so disappointed. It's literally, it'll be a page of me bitching about stuff, and then I'll remember that I'm trying to write something beautiful that my future generations might find. I'm actually just going to go home and burn them all because there's nothing there. And actually, it's just going to disappoint. I want them to remember me as being like some famous podcaster. I don't want them to remember me as somebody that couldn't finish things. I really want to pretend to be good at that stuff and want to enjoy it. I'm a writer, right? I love doing that for my work and for my hobbies. But I can't keep a journal. I just can't do it.
The modern version of the stationery cupboard sniffer is the person with all of the note apps. If you've got Obsidian,
God,
if you've got Evernote, if you've got Keep, if you've got Reminders, if you've got all of those apps that you can just index and keep all of the... If you've got all of those...
Like, why would we need more than one? But I do have more than one.
You do. We all do.
I checked my, just your normal notes if I've got an iPhone, the notes section of that. I looked the other day because occasionally I go in and delete the ones that, you go in and you see something that just says 853. What? What is that? That feels really important to me.
I tell you what.
But what is it?
One of our episodes, here's an idea. One of our episodes, we will just read out a section of our notes. Just a little insight. We'll do it. We'll read out
a little view into the crazy.
Little slice of inside the mind. This being an anti-boredom blueprint, and we're accepting that the brain tends to get a little distracted. What can we do? I mean, we've spoken about the myth of consistency. How do you remain consistent when your brain isn't and your energy isn't? Any thoughts around the consistency? Because if you're going to build a business, there to some degree you have to show up. So how do you square that circle?
It's a hard one, isn't it? Because we are sold consistency as like the holy grail of success.
That's everything.
Keep coming back, Stuart. You'll succeed.
Stand up one more time and you get knocked down. I mean, it's a good.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand it.
It's a good piece of advice.
When you're lying on the canvas, wrung out, that's when we don't want to hear that message.
No, and our motivation doesn't work. It's not linear. It doesn't work in straight lines. So it comes in waves. And when a good wave hits, we are on fire. But it's not as predictable as a neurotypical brain. So knowing that it fluctuates and it needs some stimulation and there is inconsistency there, we need to kind of work with that. And knowing yourself really well is the key to that.
My contention is not only is self-employment a perfect job approach to income and work for the neurodiverse. I actually think that other people can harness our brains. And I don't mean that it's a superpower, you're going to do maths or something, or if for our colonial friends, math. Tell you what,
that.
Yeah, I know, but go to Legos, take the S off of that and put it on the math. And then then we can have a conversation.
Yeah.
But the point I'm making is, if you can prove your commercial worth and you can deliver value, you should be paid on the value, not the amount of hours you actually turn up.
Yeah.
And I think that's where businesses could harness the neurodiverse, because there are a lot of people out there with some very, very cool skills that, were you to just say, here's a project, go away, work on that, check in with me in a couple of weeks and we'll see where you've got to. I think that's why self-employment and running a small business works, because that's effectively what you're doing. And you're doing it fractionally for a few businesses that recognise and appreciate your skill set. So I think that self-employment itself is the blueprint.
Yeah.
Every single person that hears this isn't going to suddenly magically turn into a self-employed person and run a successful business. But it does help to keep the boredom at bay. I've got to say, when I list the things that I've done over time and people say, how have you done all that? And it's like, well, because I don't like to be bored.
Oh my gosh. That is so true. I mean, I said earlier, I think, or I certainly have said to you recently, I'm building a website at the moment for somebody. I don't do that as a service anymore, but I have the skills and I have done it in the past. And my brain just went, I want to do this.
Yeah.
So they said, who can we get to? And I said, yeah, I'll do it. Oh, I didn't know you did it. Well, I can do it. So yeah,
For
let's
you,
just do this.
For you and you alone. Special person,
But
you.
the funny thing is, I've built websites in the past where I was kind of crying through the final days, just writing meta tags and crying and yeah. So I know that it's not something I want to do a lot of, but I just got involved in this one and thought, I can do this. But it's about it's about not being bored. I knew I needed that change. I've done lots of writing recently, and I knew that I needed to do a bit of web building.
I'll think of it as stocking the warehouse.
Yes.
It's sometimes you have to go away and do something completely different because you have flushed all of your ability to do whatever it is, even if it's one of your special interests. You have flushed all of the stock of it out, and you need it to recharge, and it recharges at a certain exactly. It recharges at a certain rate, so you need to go and stock the warehouse, which means you need to go and do something like back when I was doing product design. This is what people don't realise about the realities of a commercial endeavour. When you say, I will do something, you're not just honour bound to do that. You're contractually and legally obliged to do it. And that you can't go back to somebody and say, oh, yeah, my brain failed to chooch. I wasn't inspired to do the 50 slogans that I said I would deliver in a week. But I think if your brain is failing to perform at the level you need it to, then chances are you need to go away and do something completely different for a while. And I'm not saying that solves the problem of delivering 50 lines in a week, which was an actual very real thing that I had to do before any kind of chat GPT. So literally had to come up with them myself. And they all had to be funny, and be slogany and kind of put on a mug or and woven onto apparel. And if you say, oh, well, my brain, well, we've got our supplier backed up waiting, we'll just put the entire print run on hold whilst your brain... I realise the commercial reality of that. It's all very well and good saying, let your brain lead. But, you see, by going away, what I did was I went for a walk. I got in my car and went to the shops. I went into a woods. I did anything. I went and watched a film. And you could be saying, well, Stuart, that's doing anything but the work. Yeah, but my brain needs to... the subconscious of my brain needs to work out what it's going to do.
Yeah.
Knowing that the deadline is coming and trusting my process, I need to distract myself for about 2 or 3 days with nothing, minor work bits and pieces, but nothing heavily creative.
Yeah.
Go and watch a film, go to a museum, go and walk in the woods, go shopping, go and do all those things which seem anything but the work. And then it's almost like a magic switch. 2 days, 3 days before the deadline, and your brain just starts piling this stuff out. And I've learnt to trust that process.
Yeah, it works. So I call that, sometimes I just say this needs fresh eyes. And fresh eyes means go away, ignore it for a couple of days, and then bring it back like you've never seen it before. And that for me, and we probably all have slightly different processes, but for me, more often than not, it flicks the switch and I'm like, okay, back in the room. My brain's back engaged.
We've looked at this blueprint. I'm not sure that we've actually created a blueprint. What we've said is make your own blueprint.
Yeah, be the boss of your own,
And that goes with, being self-employed. You make your business what you make of it. It's not up to us to tell you, but there's just it's a little bit like there are some rules and you can ignore those rules as a neurodiverse person and it will take its toll eventually. However, if you stick to the rules, it works really well.
Yeah.
Does. So what would you say to the listeners as a takeaway?
As a takeaway.
As
a personal takeaway, I would say trust in your own process and really find out how you work, because we can give you some insight on the way we work, and there'll be some similarities. There's lots of hints and tips, and there is in the blog that accompanies this podcast. But at the end of the day, you start to understand how you work best and how you can harness your hyperfocus moments, and how you can, like we talked about the fresh eyes on projects and things. You will probably have your own version of that. So for me, the best thing that's ever happened to me from an understanding the way that I work best and really harnessing all of that motivation is just to keep learning about myself, if that doesn't sound bizarre.
No, that sounds perfectly reasonable. And it's, if you are the expression of your business, so you are the tool through which your business is delivered, then you do yourself a real disservice if you don't listen to how best that tool works. And I think over the years I've listened to far too many other people's take on what and how I do what I do, and have taken it, oh God, it's the autistic thing, isn't it? Here's the set of instructions, follow them exactly. Okay. I am now broken in ways I didn't know I could break, but thank you for that experience. I'm going to hand you back the manual and go and make my own manual. And I think that you're right. Any takeaway that we say, you must do this, you must do that, but always be wary of anyone who says you must do.
Yeah.
You are your own best judge of what you must do.
Yeah.
Because you will be aware of your own capacity. And whilst I do believe if you set your mind to things, you can achieve them, there is a certain amount of reality that crashes in. And you can have youthful exuberance, and that can carry you a long way. But at the age of 57...
You run out of it then.
Oh, boy, my stock of youthful exuberance is... the barrel is empty.
I remember I look back to like early 20s Hannah, and she was like so full of hope and and goals. But I think I'm like, sweet naive Hannah. Oh, I love that you thought that was a reality. But actually, we're talking about boredom, aren't we here? Don't do the stuff that's boring.
Outsource it.
Outsource the boring. Exactly what you said, Stu. And also, as the boss of yourself and the boss of your own business, I'm not going to be naive and say you can do whatever you want and get paid for it. That's not reality.
No.
But you can certainly pick more of the things that bring you joy and do less of the rubbish that doesn't, or outsource that stuff.
Definitely.
You get to be the boss of that. So
if you're thinking to yourself, I would like to dabble my toes into self-employment or whatever, the first thing to do is go and find a network of small business owners. There'll be someone out there. We have a local one called Signal. It's very good. They have an online presence. Yep. We'll drop a link in the notes. But the point to it is, you're going to go, oh yeah, but that's socialising. I don't want to do that. It's the last thing I want to do. A lot of these networks have online forums. You can pick it up and put it down at your will. Get involved there. Share your experience and your expertise. Be curious. There's nothing more powerful than going somewhere and saying, could you teach me how to do this? Because there's people like me out there. I love explaining stuff. I love unpicking and explaining and sharing and going, look, I don't know everything, but I have done this for 30 years, so I know a thing or two.
Know a few bits.
I've only done it in the last year in the full knowledge of my own spiciness, even though I knew all along, I just didn't have a word for it. But I'd accommodate. There were so many accommodations I made for myself, which just acknowledged my own reality, my lived reality, and that was ahead of. As I've said this before, the diagnosis isn't for you; it's for everybody else.
Yeah.
You know who you are, and this whole. I won't get into the politics of it all, but this whole there's too many labels. It's not me that needed the label, ladies and gentlemen. It's like putting your name badge on when you go networking. I know who I am. I'm putting that on for everybody else.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what a diagnosis is. So if you're listening to this and going, oh, well, that doesn't really apply because I'm not diagnosed, whatever you've heard, if you think it will work, Doesn't matter about the diagnosis.
No, and self-diagnosis is equally as valid as well.
100%. So welcome to anybody that is here thinking, questioning, scratching their head and going, a lot of this makes a lot of sense because it sounds like you're reading my mind.
We are, by the way.
We've got
superpowers.
That's the actual... Shh, don't tell them about that superpower.
I've outed us.
You've outed us. That's what we're doing, actually, neurotypicals. We're reading your minds.
We're sucking out all the good bits out of your brains.
That's why you don't have any good ideas, because we're able to do that. That's why it sometimes seems like we're reading your mind. We actually are.
Look into the eyes, not around.
So... the takeaway is that there's a lot into this. Know thyself, read up, do your research, figure it out, accept the truth about yourself. Once you stop going, I am better than this. I've done that on way too many times. Way too many times have convinced myself that I can outthink the situation or I can outperform my lack of performance.
Yeah. And lean into who you are. I think, a lot of us have, or probably all of us, have felt the shame over the years of not being the square peg in the round hole. Lean into who you are. We're not wrong, but actually when you understand yourself better and you lean into that rather than trying to fight it, because I've spent most of my working life fighting it. Almost like what would a neurotypical person do in this situation? Well, actually, if I just lent into who I was and not tried to fight it, I'd have been so much better off. And that's what I've been doing for the last few years. And it's completely life-changing. It is.
But we have to acknowledge that is a privilege that some people don't have because, dropping the mask could be literally deadly. So, make sure you're safe, people, before you lean into your own traits because other people might not be so happy about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially if you've been a people pleaser. That can be
people
a hard transition.
People are like, what's wrong with Hannah? She's gone to therapy and now she's got boundaries. We hate the new boundary, Hannah. We like the one that was like, okay, for everything. Yeah. Sorry, everybody, that I did that too.
I've often had conversations with people where I've basically told them that their friends aren't their friends. Just like, you do realise that all these people are just hanging around with you because of utility.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of those people kind of know it. And they are the person. I mean, I wrote a piece the other day where I said, you get the job of doing the tasks and you willingly accept it and have got a clipboard and you've writing it all down. And the reason that they let you hang out with them is because you're doing the admin for their fun.
You're their PA.
Some tips, do you think? Give some people some tips. I mean, we've done some brief tips. But maybe some specifics that work for you, for me?
Yeah, so I think probably one of my favourites is if you get stuck in that kind of everything's boring, everything feels dull kind of trap, then just change your environment, not your standards, Change what's going on around you. And, likewise, if you're bored in the middle of a task, rather than sit there beating yourself up, why can't I finish this? What's wrong with me? Actually, just change the task, like we were talking about fresh eyes, or my terminology of fresh eyes. If you're stuck, don't sit there for an hour hating yourself and wondering what's wrong with yourself. Come away from it. Do something different. Change up what you're doing.
Yeah.
And when you feel ready, come back to the task. And if you've learnt all the things we've told you today, listen well, people. If you're learning...
Get a fresh notebook.
Get a fresh note. Yeah, no, you do not need... The one thing you do not need is any more notebooks.
No, you need a spiral-bound one with dots.
Oh,
Metric.
Yes, you do.
Sorry, distracting.
He's like
Squirrel.
totally distracted me. There's no shame in kind of not being able to finish a task and stuff. Oh, I've just totally lost
No. I can pick up on that.
Please.
Is if your brain has wandered off of what it's doing or is refusing, like a magnet being pushed against the same pole, that repelling feeling, go and do anything else. Go and empty the bins.
Yes.
I sometimes distract myself from doing the real work by doing the menial task in the house because suddenly my brain goes, oh, I don't want to do this. Why don't we go down the office then and go and do the thing that we came up here to avoid doing? Because at least then that you're pushing it forward and you know that it's going to, oh, okay, all right. And I like this kind of negotiation of doing a less boring task than a boring task. And that just sounds like counterintuitive, but it does mean the bins get empty,
isn't it? Yeah, it's a little. You know, you're walking on one path and you're getting tired and you've had enough of it and you just want to be home, and then you just go down a different path for 10 minutes, and then the original path feels more interesting and stuff again. That's probably a really crap way of describing it, but you know what I mean. And also building that time, not having any shame around the time that it might take you to do a task, and building in that extra time, that buffer time, or that buffer recharging time, understanding the way that your brain works better and making sure that you build that into your kind of working timetable.
I also have really bad alexithymia, so I'm not sure what's going on internally. The other day, Gemma literally asked me, are you hungry? I'm going to put some chips on. And I said, I'm not hungry, no. And I ran, because I was running through the kitchen to the loo, because I'd been doing a hyperfocus.
Then you woke up.
woke up, I was like, oh my God.
I'm going to wet myself.
I stood up and it was like, oh no, this could be really embarrassing. So I ran to the loo, through the kitchen, and Jim was like, do you want any chips? Are you hungry? I'm not hungry. Went to the loo, came out and went, scratch that, I'm starving. But I couldn't experience the hunger because it was backed up behind and so sometimes you need to go and go and have the wee to release the don't assume that just because you're bored you're actually bored. You know, it's the I'm hungry, well go and have a sip of water, you might actually be thirsty. And that for me works. Going and doing I've got in the studio there's all of my tools and all the various things. If I've got stuck, I will go and do put a coat hook up or whatever, a little task, because
the one in your bathroom that's been due for the last 12 years.
Oh, you caught me out.
Sorry.
It's because I lost the screws. I bought some specific screws. I lost the screws. I've now found the screws, but I've now lost the hook. Because I moved the hook out of my sight line because, guess what? This wasn't getting done. It was just nagging at me. But the other day, I think I found the box of screws. I didn't check it. I just rattled it and put it back with where the new hook is. And now I can't remember where I put them.
That is my life. My whole life is looking for the bits.
Welcome to the carousel of thoughts, ideas and dreams.
Oh, my goodness.
So there's the top tip there. There's the top tip. Just don't be too distracted by being distracted.
No.
So there we go. If you've got any thoughts, ideas, hints, tips, or you're like violently opposed to what we've just said, put some comments. Tell us you're out there. Let us know. Send us
fan mail.
Send us fan mail.
No dodgy emails or like stalkery stuff.
Again, no more. So so if you've got any thoughts, ideas, hints, tips, or your own experiences, let us know. We'd love to hear. Any final thoughts? Any final takeaways, hints, tips, or insights, Hannah?
Oh gosh, hints and tips. No.
Just flat note.
I haven't got any more.
None. That's it. Rung me out.
I've covered it all.
Fantastic. Well, if you've liked and liked what we've been saying, or disliked what we've been saying, react in some way.
Just tell us you're alive.
Is there anybody out there? Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Of course, there's people out there where they tell us. Like, share, and subscribe. I've said that enough times. Like, share, and subscribe. And if you haven't liked, shared, and subscribed, we want to know why.
We do. What is wrong with you? And tell all of your friends.
Yes, do tell friends. So go to businessoddcast.com if you want to join the mailing list and find out. I must send the email out. I forget every week. I'm so sorry for
all those people that are crying, waiting for it.
Where is it? I'm sure they're following along. Anyway, join us for infrequent updates. And what are we talking about next week, Hannah?
Next week. I always say is a good one. They're all good ones. So that's a stupid thing. I need to introduce them differently. So next week we're talking about your needs and collaborating with neurotypicals.
Collaborating and communicating and
Yeah.
ensuring that your needs are being met,
Yeah.
seen and acknowledged.
Yeah.
Just sometimes somebody going, yeah, we know it's shit, or we're really sorry about that, it can really help. Just so
We need feedback. We are people that need feedback.
always feedback and clear communication. Somebody, here's an example. Somebody put a photograph up of their ceiling and the plaster had fallen away from it. So there was a big hole and had asked the question, can anybody tell me what caused this? Full stop.
Oh,
There was a lot of people giving a lot of builder information, but that wasn't the question that was asked.
no.
The answer to that question, what would have caused this, was gravity.
Yes.
And that's what I responded
Did you
with.
do? I bet you got somebody saying, oh, don't be a smart ass.
The original poster
Yeah.
said the only and correct answer.
Fabulous. They were clearly from our tribe as well.
Exactly.
Oh, I love it.
You ask me a question, you're going to get the answer
You'll get the
that
literal answer.
you weren't expecting. Anyway, there we go. That's another Oddcast for another week. Thank you
Yeah.
very much for listening, and we look forward to seeing you very, very soon.
We do.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Step away from PAYE. Don't do it.